Kelly Springer. Kelly, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest.
I am very excited because I live in central New York and Lyme disease is a huge issue. And so today we have Dr. Nancy Fox, leading authority in Lyme disease and best-selling author of Hide and Seek, No Ticks, Please. Dr. Fox is dedicated to educating families on the hidden dangers of Lyme disease, providing practical strategies to protect themselves and promoting healthier living. With her expertise and passion, she empowers people to take control of their health and well being. So let's dive into her health journey and learn how we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from Lyme disease. Welcome, Dr. Nancy Fox.
Oh, it's so nice to be here because this is my passion to talk about. So
Well,
I'm
I
ready.
am thrilled. So, right before we started recording, you were getting into the fact that I live in central New York and it's absolutely freezing here. But you were saying that it is a good thing that it's freezing here.
It is a good thing. And the longer it stays frozen, the better off we are when it comes to tick populations. Because in the past, we would have long, hard freezes, and ticks can only endure for so long, although they do pretty well. But when it gets below 15 degrees, they have a bigger die off. Above 15 to freezing, they can survive under the snow. It's amazing that they can actually the snow insulates them, and as long as they're moist and they have this environment that's warm enough for their bodies, they can survive. So I'm excited about a freeze for a while because tick populations will decrease.
Wow.
Well, I was just saying, so we have a beautiful English setter. Her name is Annie, and she is a bird dog. So she'll go into the woods, come out, and be covered in about 15 of them that we're picking off of her. And it's scary. We have other animals, we have children, and my husband has been bit several times, and it really is scary.
It really is. I have seen so many detrimental effects, and one of my vice president of the Leaf program, Cassidy, has from 14 to her current 27 has had debilitating things that happened. She got well for a little while, and then a year or two ago, she got sick again, and just rotating through. So you think you're okay once you've been bit and you've had illness, and then it will cycle back on you. So that's the scary part.
So this breaking this down, Dr. Nancy, because I mean, I've heard about Lyme disease. I've had a lot of people who have suffered from it, but not a doctor who, you know, helps people to go through this. Once you get bit, how do you know? I mean, a lot of times we have ticks on our body. I'm taking them off of my kids, and it's not a fun process, especially in the summer to do that in Pennsylvania. So you take them all off, and you're saying, hopefully, good, they're gone. How do we know that someone's been bitten by a tick? And sometimes they don't have, not all ticks have Lyme disease either, do they?
No, it's about a 50-50 chance from some of the studies that have been done. So there you go. Play the lottery, or get bitten by a tick. I
No, it's a
don't.
coin flip. No,
It
the
is.
lottery would be great 50-50.
Yeah, I know.
Bet sports 50-50 coin flip. But sometimes it could be a 75-25 against you. So 50-50, I don't like those odds.
I don't like them either. And I was one of those people who had to fight those odds and didn't know for 15 years, 14, 15 years, that I'd ever been bitten. And it was Lyme disease in my system causing all kinds of
Wow.
illnesses.
So you've had a personal history with this. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. Um, in 2003, May 16th, 2003, I had a Lyme test. And on the same, well, I had one earlier in the week. And I took the Lyme test on May 16th, 2003. And in the evening, I had another Lyme, Babesia, and anaplasmosis, and some others testing in a different lab. And I was negative in the morning and CDC positive in the evening.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So I'm the poster child for negative results, but not correct results. Not only did I have Lyme, but I had the Babesia and the anaplasmosis. And then after 2 years of treatment, they unveiled 15 different bugs that were in my system and that I had been fighting for however long.
So
So,
why would you have shown up as negative? Can you explain that?
because the test that they did is about 30% correct or
Oh,
less. Yes, there's worse odds, Neil.
right. Okay.
So what
So,
kind of symptoms did you have to know that the test was off and was wrong?
well, I had Bell's palsy, which for the first time in my life, I had that symptom. And I got it about a week before I was scheduled to take my dad to the Lyme doctor because no one could figure out what was wrong with him. So some friends of ours or some people who knew him said, "Oh no, he's got to go see this doctor." And so we set that up, and about a week before that, um, I got Bell's palsy. Right side of my face drooped
Oh man.
and slurred speech. And at the time, I was teaching disabled students. So it was unlike me to treat somebody with disrespect and mimic their speech. So I was confused. I had brain fog. I had trouble finding words. I was reversing letters as I typed, which never had happened before. Achy joints, extreme fatigue. But I was moving through life. That's just who I am, and ignoring my health, which is who I was.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I went to the doctor because I was feeling my general physician because I was feeling all those things and the Bell's palsy, and so so he did a Lyme test. And then when I took my dad, now that was on a Monday, on a Thursday, I took my dad to the Lyme literate doc, and he took one look at me after I introduced my father and said, "Forgive me for saying so, but you have a speech problem." And no one had acknowledged my speech problem prior all week. So, and he took my hand and he says, "Your hand and is atrophying. It's thin. It doesn't have the puffy, fluffy, supportive whatever. You should be tested, but I'm here to see your dad." So, when my dad took off his shirt, he had bullseye rashes all over his body.
Oh,
Every inch of his body had bullseye rashes. Now, what we do know now, and the physician was so disgusted. What happened? He was given prednisone about 9 months or so before, maybe not a year, but probably within a year, he had been given prednisone, which proliferated the bacteria, the Lyme bacteria, and it also suppressed the symptom of the rash. My dad started to feel worse than he did before. He went to a dermatologist to figure out what was going on, and thankfully the dermatologist said, "For I don't know what this is, so I'm going to send you for another opinion you'll have to find." So that's how we got into the Lyme literate doc. And so what I learned from that is that sometimes steroids, if you're having Lyme disease, now this is just what happened to my dad. It proliferated the bacteria, and when he came off of it, then the symptoms came out like full force because he took himself off without doctor intervention. So that's how we found out. And so both of us got tested that night. We both were prescribed clinically antibiotics and so forth. So that's how I found out. And when the test came back, I was CDC positive for the tests that were done with the Lyme literate doc. And I called the local health department called me and said, "That's very difficult to get a positive Lyme disease test."
well, that's also weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was throwing off those two titers, and forgive me, I don't remember the two that they took out in order to do something with the vaccine so the vaccine would work, which I've done some reading. And so I was showing all five bands. And then he also tested for babesia and anaplasmosis, and those came up positive too, which nobody else was testing for.
Absolutely crazy stuff. Dr.
Really?
Nancy.
So now
Uh,
that you were treated, are the symptoms gone? Are you able to live? No, you're laughing. So no.
No, I'm laughing because, they talk about survivor's guilt. And I say I'm 95% better.
Okay.
On a
okay.
regular basis, I feel like I have gotten a hold of my health. I pay attention to it more. I'm not perfect at it. Guess what, guys? Even my friend, she eats clean, she does everything right, and she's symptomatic for Lyme.
Wow.
So, you can do all things right and the bacteria will still cause you issues. I have been able to rebound. It took me about 7 years in 4 years of antibiotic treatment. Now, I don't everybody has a different path, but for me, I came off for a year and then I went back on. It was 4 years of that whole process. For me, that's short because I know other people have gone much longer. And then I did some what we called maintenance. And then I also used alternative methods, massage therapy, acupuncture, and I've done some other things. Ozone therapy, I swear by it, but not everybody needs to or wants to. But for me, all of those things led me to being 95%. Now, occasionally I have an achy joint or something, but nothing compared to those who are continued to be majorly chronic.
Mm, okay. Well, consider yourself lucky, right?
Oh, I do.
Fortunate. But I know in our local area, people are really, truly, suffering. And so with your foundation, is there a place they can go to get education and to get what they need?
Um, well, I'm so excited because my team and I have developed a curriculum to be put in schools, and I've shared some of it with other organizations to be out there. Some private schools have bought it, and it's been a labor of love. I wrote No Hide and Seek, No Ticks, Please. But before that, the first book was No Ticks, Please, and it's also in Spanish. So all of those are available online or at Amazon. But what I'm most excited about is the new Tick Alert game. So Tick Alert is a family edition game where you pull out the board game and it has a little path through 4 biomes: neighborhood, park, forest, and field, where your tick risk um, varies depending on where you are. And then there's 88 cards, 4 different levels. So a young person about 8 years old could play and on up. And the levels, and then there's a bonus level. And then you can play through and you can learn ways that, you know, we all have the leafprogram.org has information on it. ticksafetyalert.com has information on it. But what I have found over the last 12 years is that no one will pay attention to these awareness programs or look for this information unless, like you, they are affected either daily or someone they know or love has been affected by a tick bite. So I want to get the education into everybody's home and make it as a safety alert, just like walking across the street. Because as well as I do, that your dog goes out in the woods, comes back, has all these ticks. They can drop off of them, get onto you and your loved ones. And that is the scary part. So we go out and we train. We have a live event that we go into schools and parks and recs. We go all over. We've been to before COVID hit. We were at 16 states, over 5,000 kids served. We're over 10,000 kids served to this point, that we go in and do a live event. But now I figured, why can't we just have every
Yeah.
family take ownership for their safety?
100%. Wow. Kelly, this is amazing. I'm going to go my question to Dr. Nancy. How do you help people that do have Lyme disease? Do you practice helping people as that as well? So if I say,
Not so much. I don't. Because I'm an educational doctor, and I should have probably made that clear at the beginning. I have a doctorate in education. I've spent my years teaching people, teaching children especially. And I have somebody on my board that will talk to people. I talk to people, certainly if someone's suffering from Lyme, I certainly know how to talk to them about it because I've experienced it as well. Cassidy will talk to people. She does what she can. So I have people that I can refer them to as well.
I got it. Kelly, have you had, when practicing as a dietitian, have you ever run into people that have Lyme disease when you've been
Yes.
working with them?
Yes, yes. So one of the things that people seek out is a dietitian because energy levels are low, and looking for nutrition solutions to bring that back up. And so it's very interesting. And like I said, especially where I live in central New York, so many people are affected by Lyme that it has been something that comes up.
And Kelly, that's a wonderful thing because I know prior to having Lyme, I didn't know anything about nutrition. I just ate what everybody ate and what we ate for years in our families, right? And then when you get Lyme, it changes the digestive system and for not for the better.
Well, and also the antibiotic use changes
Yes.
your, gut biome. And so that's where working with the dietitian can truly help to put together the right pre and probiotics, understanding how to rebuild that digestive tract. It's really important to understand. And if you don't get that right, if it doesn't, if you don't get the right amount of those good bugs coming in, it can really affect a lot of things, especially mental health.
Especially the neurological Lyme piece is so debilitating, and diet and nutrition is essential to helping get well.
A lot of
Well,
people are misdiagnosed of Lyme. How will they know it's not something else? There's so many other medical issues that could be, especially Kelly and I have been talking about perimenopause and menopause. You could have some of the same symptoms from a Lyme bite or concussions, which I have one of my clients, Dr. Charles Simkovich, he deals with that all the time. So there's so many multiple things that can mask what really was Lyme. How do you, so that's where only a test. What if you had it like 20 years ago or 10 years ago? Can a test ever tell that you did or didn't?
Well, I'm the poster child for tests not working and tests working. So I really do not I'm let me say this. I'm not confident that tests are the only way because so many inconsistencies. What happens is you need to find someone like Kelly, who's a nutritionist that can help you on that, and start wheedling away and taking back the onion layers and figuring out, is it just dietary? Is it a bacteria or virus that you're carrying in your system? Unfortunately, not enough doctors pervasively know enough about Lyme and the underlying multi-systematic bacterias and viruses, the co-infections. It's a complicated, complex mess. So that's $1 million question, Neil, because I went 15 years and I had asthma and I had this and I had all kinds of things. And really, we went back to 15 years prior, my right eye was drooping ever so slightly.
Hmm.
And that's how my Lyme doctor said, with what my medical history was and everything. I even had stomach polyps. 50, over 50 at one point, like right before, maybe 2 or 3 years before I got diagnosed with Lyme and other co-infections. So you can have so many, and it's so different for every person, except there are patterns. So, and similarities in
That's the
some.
problem is there's so many similarities. You got to remember was I out in the woods and I felt like I had to take that. So this is why your education is so important, right, Kelly?
Absolutely.
It's so
It's
important.
it's really important. And, I do think that there is hope for the future. They are working on a Lyme vaccine. There was one, it got
Hmm.
pulled out. They have it for the dogs and cats now. I don't know why we don't, especially here. I mean, just the side effects when you get Lyme are so, like, as you're saying, Dr. Nancy, like they're so devastating. And so hopefully, I don't know how, if people are for or against, but I know for my husband, it would be amazing because he's in the woods as much as he possibly can, and his risk of Lyme is so high. So
Mhm.
I'm not saying that the vaccine would be for everyone, but I think for people that are at high risk, it would be something that's good.
My caution with the vaccine is it will only address the Lyme bacteria. The co-infections, you still have to be vigilant with a tick bite because there may be a co-infection
Correct.
that you're not vaccinated for. So,
Hmm.
in one respect, we're excited because we have something that should protect us.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, what about all the other things that, especially in New York, there is the Powassan virus.
It's getting scary.
I
I remember as a kid, like you could walk to the woods and like it was never a thing. And so
Right.
I guess, I was really coming back to the beginning of the conversation. I was really bummed that it's going to be so cold, but I guess it's a good thing that I'll take the cold and turn on my space heater.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, great information. Best place people can find information on you, Dr. Nancy. Where can they go?
TickSafetyAlert.com right now or theleafprogram.org. Either one of those sites will give you information. Um, Contact me, let me know. Look for our game coming out. It should be out March, sometime in March or April. And I would suggest every family protect themselves by simply doing daily tick checks,
Mhm.
checking, putting their clothes in the dryer right after they come in from being outdoors. And that heat will kill the ticks and will keep them from spreading throughout your home. Those two things right there, and wear repellent. So, and just those three things will absolutely give you some level of protection.
And do you recommend people get tested for Lyme?
Oh, Neil, tough one. Well, I have to say, depending on where and what you get tested for and who does it, because I'm the person who
Right. So you
tests
have to come
every
up, you have to come
morning.
up with that list when you figured it out through your
Yeah.
journey. That's the important thing. Okay. We appreciate it. And Kelly can go to kellyschoice.org and pick up your book, Kelly, available today on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Hey,
All right.
Kelly.
All right. Thanks, guys. That
Thank
was
you so much, Hector.
all right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Talk Healthy.